in Arlington for that. We're now joined by Paul Bloss. Let me give you just a quick update from L.A. North or L.A. Country Club. Ricky Fowler, 2 under today, up 10 under par. Leads by 1. Wyndham Clark, done 9 under. McIlroy, done at 8 under. Shoffley is on the course even for the day. He's at 8 under par. And Harris English at 7 under. Dustin Johnson, 6 under par. Both of them are done for the day. Paul, who has been with us, was at the Open Championship and gave us some feedback from overseas, now is in L.A., listens and watches what we do. Paul, thanks for your time. What's the weather like today? I heard it was kind of like overcast and somewhat misty or moist that maybe made conditions too easy yesterday. What's it like today?
Well, this morning it was the same way, David. It was the same weather. About an hour ago, I would say, finally it burned off. It's beautiful blue skies, but there's building up thunderstorms, and they expect thunderstorms here by 5 p.m., and the wind kicked up. So there was very little wind, if no wind, all morning to about 2 o'clock. And the wind now is anywhere from 10 to 15 miles per hour and gusting sometimes to 20 right now.
It's a
little bit different than the morning conditions. And the scores, they didn't tear up the course.
No.
I mean, I did listen to Art Strickland with you yesterday, and I loved his comments. Like, if you like the Quad City Open, you might like the U.S. Open. But they did open the greens up and stuff. They double cut the greens last night, and then they pressed them. And there's no doubt that the pin placements, I think they improved a little bit more than they would have even for a regular Friday. They seemed to be a lot tougher. You didn't have a lot of people. You had some scores that, were pretty good. You had Minwoo Lee that shot a 5 under, I think the best so far for the day. And then you had Harris English and you had McIlroy, but you didn't have a whole bunch of people just scorching the course like it was earlier, last year or last day. And so, I mean, it's been a pretty good tournament. I mean, I think that personally, I would love to see it a little bit tighter. I'd love to see the scores, not used to hearing that the cut line's going to be 2 under. Usually you think that might be close to the lead. So it's a little bit different than a regular U.S. Open.
Yeah, Paul, the cut line right now might even be 2 over because some of the scores have been, they hadn't been like anything awful. But, yeah, it's not like they're going to go shoot another 62 today like Fowler did, who's on the course. You've been to an Open Championship. You follow major events. You have been to some great courses. This one here, it seems like it has at times a links course look in it, but how would you describe it?
Well, I think that's a good thing, but a links course generally, especially for a championship, don't have the wide fairways. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the difference here. You have a few of the holes where we spent a lot of time today at the 8th hole, which is the par 5, and your first shot has a real wide open fairway, but then it does narrow, and it's about the standard size. And, they were not burning up that hole today. I mean, I think we were there for about an hour and a half. We only saw one eagle there and very few birdies. But the fairways are way too wide. I mean, it's like, you're dealing with guys that are the best in the world, and, you're not seeing a ton of shots going off into the rough. I mean, the rough is thick. I mean, if you get in the rough, it's like you're dead. But, it's just different. I mean, you've had people have had difficulty. I mean, you had Jordan that's probably not making the cut. You had Phil that's not going to make the cut. But you have a lot of other people that are just playing, pretty decently. And I don't think they really think it's that hard.
I saw where Koepka played well enough today to be able to get under the cut line. Yeah, Mickelson's at +3 if the cut line stays at +2. That will be interesting. Yeah, Spieth is also there. And usually at an Open, the cut line will go higher, right, as the day goes by in round 2?
Right. I think what British Open last year for round 2, I think it was the cut line came in at 4 or 5 over par, and I think there was only like 3 or 4 people at that point that were under, had an under par round. I mean, so this is quite different. I mean, I've never seen one quite like this that's so far under par. I mean, Ricky Fowler's having a fantastic tournament. I mean, He's continuing on this morning. I know he's had one birdie this afternoon, I guess, but he started out the first 3 holes, birdie, birdie, birdie.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But, the one thing I was a little bit surprised about is you don't hear anything about the LIV Golf situation and the merger. I mean, when I was at the Open, all anybody talked about outside tournament and even inside the rounds were what was going to happen because of LIV. Now, you don't hear anything about it. The only comments you do hear is that, they don't like the idea of the merger. They don't really know what the merger means and things like that. But, you don't hear too much about it, whereas in the Open, that was the whole talk. And it's kind of like non-existent here. And I don't think that's a major story right now.
I wonder, and Paul, we got to let you go so you can go enjoy the damn thing. But I also wonder if, with Koepka winning the PGA, which was obviously a huge moment for Koepka, people wanted also, and they should have in ways about LIV. And you just wonder if enough has been played. You had majors now for a year and a half. Koepka winning, then the story. It's 2 weeks old, and based on, I was listening to an interview earlier today. Oh my Lord, with one of the, I forgot his name, but I was listening to it earlier this morning, and it was like, it's just kind of okay. It's a major. That's the most important thing. Whatever happens after this with all the legal issues with LIV or the merger or whatever you want to call it, the combination with the PGA Tour, that remains to be. Jimmy Roberts was the one that said he hasn't heard much talk about it as well. Go play. Go win a major, go compete in a major, and then sets you up to play in more majors, especially if you're on the LIV where you're not getting world ranking points, at least for the rest of the year.
Right. And the one thing that is interesting, though, I think the fan favorite here is Rory McIlroy. I mean, when Rory comes up to any group, you're hearing people yell out, "Thank you, Rory. Thank you for everything you've done." And when he comes up to a green, you'll start to hear, we heard it at the 8th green where it was Rory, Rory, Rory. I mean, so he's really, I think, taken on a different space. And I think the people appreciated what he did, no matter how this whole thing shakes out. And I think that he's really probably gained a lot from it in terms of, he was always popular, but, he's taking on the status of, kind of how people would go all excited with Phil before the meltdown. So that's something that I think is a little bit interesting too.
Yeah,
but it's going to be interesting. I hope they don't do another one where they have wide open fairways for U.S. Open.
No, I think that's probably one of the things they regretted. They also thought wider fairways because they had so many undulations where the ball could be in the middle of the fairway, end up in the rough. They were probably worried about it being too dry, and that could get to be a little bit much. Paul, enjoy it. I always appreciate your contributions. You follow us, you support us, you're loyal to us, and we appreciate your time, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Well, we love listening to you all.
Yes,
Take
sir.
care and have fun.
Yes, sir. That's
Bye.
Paul Bloss. He's a Dallas Baptist graduate. His wife's a Baylor graduate, but he loves to follow Baylor and also has been a big-time supporter of this show. Met us up in Fort Worth when we did the shows before the NCAA first and second round games in